I'm going to tell you what scan will see from when you are 4 weeks pregnant down to when you are 6 weeks pregnant. Some of you would go for scan at this stage and sometimes you get confused as to what ultrasound sees. So I am going to basically be educating you today on what you expect ultrasound to see from when you are 4 weeks pregnant down to when you are 6 weeks. I'm a medical sonographer. I do ultrasound for pregnant women and I love to educate the general public about the importance of ultrasound during pregnancy. No part of this video should be used as a form of medical diagnosis at all. It is just for educational purposes. The next time you go for your scan when you are between 4 weeks and 6 weeks, I hope this video is going to help you so that you don't get confused as to what they are seeing. When you are 4 weeks pregnant is basically when majority of people would do their first pregnancy test. This is usually 2 weeks post-ovulation. So remember how to count pregnancy so that you will not count wrongly. Pregnancy is calculated from the first day of your last period and not the day you met your man or the day of your ovulation. So when you are counting, you have to start from the first day of your last period. So at the time you are testing positive for pregnancy, you are basically almost 4 weeks gone. If you go for a scan at this stage, let me tell you what scan is going to see. Number one is a thickened endometrial cavity. So the lining of your womb would look thick on scan. Also, sometimes the person doing the scan can see fluid in your POD, and we can also see the corpus luteal cyst. So some of you would come home with an ultrasound report reading that you have an ovarian cyst, but at that time you are testing positive for pregnancy. The only thing is that no pregnancy might be seen on scan at this stage because this is the time when implantation just newly happened. So if you go for your scan at this stage, don't expect to see baby or even the pregnancy at all, okay? So when you are up to 4 weeks and 5 days pregnant, that means you have completed 4 weeks and 5 days, what scan is going to see at this stage is a tiny gestational sac. The gestational sac is the structure that actually shows on ultrasound that there is a pregnancy growing. And this will usually help us to know that that pregnancy is growing in the right place. The gestational sac is expected to grow in the endometrial cavity. The endometrial cavity is the lining of your womb. If the pregnancy is growing away from the endometrial cavity or outside of it, it will be called an ectopic pregnancy. Gestational sac is a tiny little round structure that we see at your endometrial cavity when you are up to 4 weeks and 5 days pregnant. This is usually when you go for a transvaginal ultrasound, not the transabdominal one. If you go for transabdominal, nothing might be seen. So you should know the one you are going for at this stage, all right? I don't usually advise a lot of people to go for scans at this stage except they really have symptoms, because you might go for scan and they tell you we are seeing nothing, and the next thing that follows is worry and anxiety. Now, when you are up to 5 weeks pregnant, at the point you are 5 weeks pregnant, what ultrasound is going to see is your gestational sac and your yolk sac. I've already explained to you what the gestational sac is. The next structure I'm going to be talking about is the yolk sac. This is a very important structure during your pregnancy, and this structure is going to be doing function of nutrition, and also it will help in the production of the cells that will give rise to your baby's reproductive and digestive system during that pregnancy. So this structure is really important. It is the next structure that we see, and we start seeing it at about 5 weeks. When you move up to your 5 weeks, 4 days, 5 weeks, 5 days, this is when ultrasound will usually start seeing the heartbeat of your baby. And this would appear on ultrasound like a dot, a single dot on the screen, like just a full stop on the screen, and it will be flickering. Now, at this stage, it is still early for some people, for your sonographer or the person doing the scan to see it. So we don't usually see it for everybody at this stage. So you can still go for scan when you're 5 weeks, 5 days pregnant and they don't still see your baby. At 6 weeks is when we are generally expecting that majority of people will see the heartbeat of their baby using ultrasound. But will you always see it? No. There are some people that the heartbeat of their baby will not be seen on ultrasound until they are past 6 weeks. So if you are less than 6 weeks pregnant and you're going for an ultrasound, I want you to know exactly what you are expecting to see, and so that your expectations will not be too high. Because majority of people want to see their baby when they are 4 weeks, and when they go for scan and nothing is seen, possibly it's just the gestational sac, or maybe gestational sac was not even seen, they worry or they cry, anxiety, fear, they don't know what is going on. Different hospitals could have different protocols, just in case nothing is seen on your ultrasound. They can keep on monitoring just to keep an eye on the pregnancy, possibly using your beta HCG, that is your beta human chorionic gonadotropin measurements, just to keep an eye on whether the pregnancy is actually developing, whether there is a sign of ectopic pregnancy or not. However, at this particular stage, I want you to really know that scan might not see your baby less than 6 weeks pregnant. So when you go for scan at this stage and they don't see anything, do not panic. You still have time, okay? So usually in some clinics or in some places, they might ask you to repeat scan after 2 weeks. They might ask you to repeat scan after 1 week, depending on their protocol. And when you go for scan at those times that your sonographer asks you to repeat scan, they will usually see the heartbeat of your lovely little angel. I'll see you again in my next video. I'm still your celebrity sonographer. Bye.